Hey YouTube, it's Dimitri, and today we're going to show you how to change spark plugs on a Subaru. They're all fairly similar, but this is a 2005 Subaru Legacy. First, you'll put the key in the ignition and then turn it so it clicks twice, but do not start the car, but just to the on position so that when we disconnect the battery, the alarm does not go off. Next, we're going to reach down, pop the hood so we can get into the engine compartment. Next, we're going to take a 10 millimeter, I believe, for most batteries and disconnect the positive side first, which is the red side. And then we'll continue over and disconnect the black side, which is going to be the negative side. We do not want to have any sort of electricity flowing through this just in case we hit some sort of short or short circuit. We don't want to damage any of the electrical components. Next, we're going to reach down into the engine bay here, and there's going to be 2 spark plugs on each side of your boxer engine. There's going to be a rubbery black piece here, which is hooked to an electronic cord here. This is going to be the top part on your spark plug. We're just going to reach in there, wiggle it a little bit, and pull it out as they're just pressed on by hand. Make sure you have the correct spark plugs for your vehicle. I recommend NGK as those are typically what come in stock for Subaru. The plugs I am using is a BKR5EIX11. Anyways, but look up the spark plug on your vehicle specifically. Now we're going to need a deep 5/8 socket to pull these plugs. I highly recommend getting a spark plug socket. I know this can be a pain, but these do have this rubber ring on the inside that holds the plug in safely so you don't end up cracking the ceramic top part of this. It also makes it much easier to pull the plugs. Sometimes these wells that the spark plug goes into is too deep and you cannot reach in to get them out. So you will need a 5/8 spark plug socket with this rubber piece on the inside to pull your plugs out. On top of this 5/8 deep socket, we're going to use probably about a 3-inch extension here. I'm using 3/8 drives for the ratchets. We're gonna need this probably 3-inch extension here and the swivel socket 3/8 adapter on top of that. And this puts it about the exact length we need to get in here. You do not want these too long as you will run into the frame of the car as you get towards the back of the engine. But a little bit longer ones will work for the front, but this is kind of the setup I recommend. And then we're going to take our socket and our extension and we're going to slide it into the hole. You can leave the swivel socket part off as often it will not reach as we get towards the back of the engine. But just put in the 5/8 socket with the extension. Again, carefully put it in there, turn it with your hand a little bit and push inward because we're going to push the socket around the spark plug and we want that rubber part to hug and grab onto the plug so we know it is pressed all the way down onto the spark plug. And then we're going to take our ratchet in here and we're going to loosen it. Once I have broken this free, I'm going to use a much longer extension here, about a 6 to 8-inch extension, just to make this easier because it is hard to get your hands in this little tight space and move it back and forth and back and forth. And so next I'm going to use this long extension here just to make this easy and really utilize that swivel socket here so we can unscrew the spark plug out of the engine. Now you'll notice as I pull this plug, I'm inspecting the plug. I want it to be dry. I do not want oil on it. If there is oil on it, we have a leak. This plug looks great. This plug is an example one that looks bad. I know I have a leak and there'll be another separate video for this if you need to do a valve cover gasket change. But you want to get deep in here and look. If there's oil, you're going to have to pull the entire valve cover, which is a different video, but that is a bad sign. And then we're just going to undo this entire process to put the car back together. So we're going to take that spark plug, that brand new one, and we're going to put it into the 5/8 spark plug socket. We're going to slide this down into the engine again. Make sure you feel that the spark plug kind of seats. I like to spin it lefty-loosey a few times to make sure it's seated flat before spinning it righty-tighty. Anyways, and then get your socket in there and tighten it down. Do not over tighten it. I like to get it just a little bit snug with the ratchet here. Again, using the extension if need be to kind of get all those first threads put in. And then take the extension off, put the wrench back in there on the swivel socket and just get a slight little tug to make sure that it is nice and tight in the engine bay. Next, don't forget to put your spark plug caps back on here. So fish these in, make sure your cables are still hooked into the little clips and holders, and then press those in firmly so that they click and snap on top of the spark plugs. Next, we're going to put the battery back together. I'm going to put the positive terminal on first. Guess it doesn't really matter. Just do not touch any metal between the 2 terminals. Then put your other negative terminal back on. And then next, you're going to start the car, and just to make sure it all works. And that is how you change out spark plugs on a Subaru Boxer engine. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, until next time.